Hello, good evening, welcome to another episode of Easy 8 Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, and for the next 2 hours I'm going to be here with you, joining you live, painting my miniatures, hopefully while you're painting your miniatures. The whole purpose of Easy 8 is to unite people across the whole world, I suppose, local, globally, everywhere in between, to bring people together in the passion of hobby painting. If you are painting something, I bet you somewhere in the room or in the house that you're in right now, there are hordes and hordes of unpainted grey plastic or various other things that you haven't got around to painting yet. The whole objective of Easy 8 is to bring you guys together, watch me fail and sometimes succeed in painting all of my things, to provide you with a little bit of company. With these guys over here in the live chat, or anybody else, anywhere else in the world, at any time, to watch it back retrospectively, so you got a little bit of company to paint all of your stuff too, because it helps me get through the workload of stuff. It just piles up. I can't help it. I'm an impulse buyer. I see things, I want to buy them, I want to have them, and before I know it, I haven't got enough hours in a day or days in a week, etc, etc, to paint all my stuff. So yes, I would like you to come and join me. Quick GMwag, quick hello to Shiv from Table of Horrors. Hi Shiv, how's it going, mate? We've got Crumb Studio. Hey buddy, how are you also? We've got my dad Jeff. Hi Dad, and we've got Emma's just joined us. Hi Emma. Emma's come all the way over from Australia, has come back into the UK. I've been following your Instagram, mate. I've just been so busy, I haven't been able to message or reply or whatever. It's lovely to see your name there in the live chat. I hope you're doing well. Congratulations on your recent news. Not going to go into your personal life here. It is not my news to talk about, but I'm super stoked for you, and it's so lovely to see just your name there. Cool. If you are painting something this evening, please do come and let me know about it, because I am genuinely inspired, intrigued, interested, motivated by the stuff that you do. So if you are working on something, come and tell me, come and tell these guys over here as well. Take photos of it. We're not just here on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. And you can also come and join me at the end of the day with all of these guys probably over in Discord for a live video chat if you fancy that. And you can take photos and put them up on Facebook and on Discord as well if you want to, because photos or it never happens. That's my rule. We've got Mike Turner's just joined us. Oi oi, hello mate, hope you're doing well, pal. Of course, if you haven't done so already, or maybe you're just new here, please do consider subscribing to the show. It's what makes the community grow. You are the community, and the way that it gets bigger and better is if you go and tell someone about it and bring them along. Maybe you know someone who might benefit from the show. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and hit the little bell icon beside it, because apparently that tells you when I do stuff. But if you're like a proper hardcore fan, you just know. Yeah. Subscribe. It would make my day, please. I'd love that. I'll tell you what I will do. It's not just like it's a surprise. I do it every week. I'm going to have a little sip of my freshly made tea, burn my tongue. I'll give you a couple of seconds to go and hit the thumbs up button, because that's what makes the world goes around. That's what makes the world go around on YouTube. So off you go. Go on, give it a thumbs up now. Actually, that is a perfect temperature tea. Yum yum. Are we all done? Love that. Do you know what, guys? Happy Friday. Happy weekend. Here in Devon, in the southwest of the UK, it's normally a little bit of changeable weather. It could be raining 1 minute, it could be freezing cold, it could get really hot. It's still February, and I think I'm sunburned. I might not look it, or you might be able to see it. I've been outside with my team today, training them in all cool, fun stuff, and they're all brand new to it, so it's all been really been a really wonderful experiential experience. Put your words back in. We've had a great time, but we've been out in the sun all day, and I can feel the top of my head with my adult hair getting very, very thin, and my face. I feel a bit warm, a little bit zingy. Been a beautiful day, and it's really quite warm here in the studio. I don't know how much longer I can wear the hoodie, but yeah. I hope you guys are having as much as a lovely Friday as I am, and here's to the weekend. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. Emma says we're going to be local come Monday. Ah, yes, I will try my best to make some time to come and find you. I will be working, but we can certainly catch up. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? To catch up with everyone. Yes, I would love that. Cut out for me. A cut out for you? Oh, I see. Is it just me, or is Danny's mic cutting in and out? It might be cutting in and out. I did notice there was a little bit of slowdown at this end here. Let me know if it carries on. Everyone's going, check your mic, check your mic. I think the microphone just might be cheap. If it's rubbish, I can move to this one, but we all know that it's not good as quality in the way it sounds. But it's been more reliable, right? So, yeah. Is it still being a bit dodgy? Because I can go and change it right now. cutting out for me. It's a bit iffy. Yeah. All right, cool. Anyway, look, I'm going to take you straight over to the workbench. Here we go. So last week, I've been working on this really big Space Marine. Let's be honest, it's a toy. It's not a model. It is an action figure. But I really like the fact that McFarlane Toys, the people who made it, really honed in on what Warhammer fans enjoy. And that is obviously, there's the gaming side of it, there's the playing with it, you know. But there's the making and the painting, isn't there? They haven't made it in a model that comes in pieces. I've taken mine apart, but I love the fact that it comes in bare plastic, so the grey plastic colour, so that it is, you can paint over it and do what you want with it. I love that. I think that's great. So here I am painting this Dark Angels. I've never painted Dark Angels colour scheme before. It's just dark green. I like what I've got here, all airbrushed, using a very dark green colour, using white ink to kind of make highlights, spots or whatever, spraying that green over the top, and that's given me this really cool shaded fake highlighting colour, and I'm just playing with it. I'm having some fun with it. I'm having a great time. So to break away from the green, because I think I'm pretty much done with the base green, I'm going to do some highlights with it later on. What I've been doing is I've been finding all of these under armour parts to make it look like that it's kind of rubbery. I suppose it wouldn't be rubber if it's going to be like a full armoured suit. I suppose it would be metal, and it would be like futuristic, and that's the whole point of them. But I've just been painting them like it is kind of a plastic rubber metal thing. Shut up. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that stuff. So I wanted it dark grey. I didn't want it black. I wanted to be able to shade it black, and that's what I'm going to be doing this evening. There's a lot of products, a lot of different types of paints and things that I could use to recess that, just to kind of create some depth and some shadow in there. Even though the model is big enough to cast its own decent shadow, I want to really stain it down dark. And I might take that onto some of the other little details in and around it, see how this goes. But the idea is to basically drop a panel liner stain into here. And then when that's dried and I've finished all of the different component parts, not every part's got these little black bits on it, but the majority of them do, is I would then come in with a lighter grey, hopefully not too light, and just do like a little highlight line on them, again, just to kind of give some depth, to give some contrast in there. I'm a little bit worried about what colour to use. I've got my two dark greys, and there's quite a step between the two of them. This one here is almost a black. I love this one. This is the base colour that you can see on those parts. So on the side here, that is that colour. I like to use it for tyres, tyre rubber, because tyres aren't black, or especially in period stuff like World War II. And then there's this grey here, which out of my older greys, this was the darkest. I've bought this one since, and as you can see, there's quite a step between. So if I highlight this colour, especially once it's been shaded black, that's going to be quite a poppy colour. So I might have to blend the two of them together to get something somewhere in the middle. But that's tomorrow's problem. That's when I get there. Right now, all this evening is going to be probably is mixing up an oil paint, because I'm going to go into the world of oils today. And I'm not going to slap it all over and then remove it, because that is one technique that I could use. I could just slap out the black oil over everything, use a sponge and wipe it off. I don't want to do that. That is a specific style, specific technique for a specific aesthetic. Very hard to say. I don't want to go down that road. I just want nice, neat and tidy. I'm just having fun. I don't really care about what special technique, or not special techniques, special styles I could do to get to a special type of appearance. I just want to paint it and have some fun. Yeah, there's his face. Doesn't he look so cool? Adrian says, I think the problem for me is at my end, fixed by closing every app I had open and reloading YouTube. Yes. I'm not experiencing any problems at this end. If I do experience problems, I tend to get a little alert, a little alarm. It tells me that my output's peaking. That could be, of course, I have a dodgy mic. It wouldn't tell me that. But I've got an equalizer, just doing its thing. Doesn't seem to be any problems with it. Let me know if you do continue experiencing problems. I do the show for you, not necessarily just for me. So if you're experiencing audio problems and you like the sound of my dulcet tones, tell me. Yum yum. Right, so I need to make a black ink stain. I've got to stop calling it inks, because inks are a product that we can use. A wash, if you will, a panel liner. Jeff says we should come up with a name for the Under Armour rib bits on the model. Please do work together. Let's get that. I want that. So right here, I've got some Winton oil colours from Winsor & Newton. I picked these up from an art shop that was closing, unfortunately. Actually, one of my subscribers, Luke, used to work in that shop, and it closed down, unfortunately. It was just an old family business that I think just came to the end of its days, and I picked this one up and a burnt umber for 99p each, and I think that they're going to last me for my entire painting life, because an oil paint will really go somewhere. It really has a lot of distance in it, a lot of mileage. I need to obviously mix this not with any kind of acrylic thinner because it won't work. I need to mix it with some enamel odourless thinner or white spirit, but I prefer odourless thinner because it's odourless. I don't really like the smell of white spirit. Even the odourless white spirit still has a vague white spirit smell to it. I think I just prefer this, man. Just, yeah, whatever. Now, my experience with and I'm not very experienced with oil paints at all, but obviously I could just slap black paint on it and it would be thick, it would be heavy, and it would be like, you know, a Rembrandt painting where the paint's gone on thick, and that's that painting style. That is not for this. I need it to be quite runny. I need it to run freely in all the grooves. I need it to touch into an area and spill out somewhere, creating or taking away a lot of the work and effort for me. So I'm going to need to make this quite thin. Got my little mixing brush, which is just a dead old brush that I can use just for, you know, harsh work. I've got a little pipette here so that I don't have to like pour my odourless thinner all over the place. So I'm just going to undo this. Shiv says, will you be making scaled terrain for Danny's model, Jeff? No. A model this big is literally taking the mini out of miniature, isn't it? It's not small anymore. Right, I think I'm probably doing this the wrong way round, do you know? I'm just gonna pop my little pipette and my spirit over there. Probably want to put some paint in there first, right? Now it only needs the tiniest of drops, like a tiny little smear from this toothpastey style paint. That there is gonna go so far. I don't need any more. That's probably too much. But you know what? In for a penny, in for a pound. I don't know why I'm doing this northern accent. If you come from the UK, you'll know that's a northern accent. It might be a really bad northern accent. Got quite a few northerners that have joined my team, and they've all got very thick accents. So we've all been talking in northern accent, and I'm really sorry for anyone who I'm offending with it. It just seems to be rolling out. We're having fun with it. Don't mean it in a nasty way. Anyway, I think I need quite a bit of thinner. Well, more than you'd think. Like, that might not be enough. So, I'm just going to put my little pipette over here. Stay. Good boy. Bring in my eye. Get out. And I'm just going to mix that in. Thinner doesn't go very far with, well, in this instance. Like, if I had a tiny amount of weathering enamel paints or something on the side of my tanks or whatever, a bit of thinner will do a lot of work. But to really sort of water this down, if you will, it requires quite a bit. Not like tons and tons, but, you know, more drops than you think it would. Because at the moment, you can see that the paint is still not really running freely, and I've put in a good, what, 5 or 6 drops in there, and that looks like it's quite a lot of thinner when you're putting that in there. Yeah, that's still a pasty paint. That's still a thick layer of paint for painting on. So I'll put another. I'm just gonna go like 2 drops at a time and just see what happens. Or maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just go for it. Okay. You know what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, why not? I can see the thinner rolling around on the inside in there. But that's not the paint doing that. I need it so that if it was to touch a surface, it would just bleed out all over the place. No chance of a Scaleraini embassy for the Dark Angel. I am never making another embassy ever again. It was a big model, that, man. Do you know what? I hope the customer is really satisfied with it, because what a build you did there. If anyone's interested in seeing that build, head on over to Purple Lion Creations. That's my dad's business, where he will tailor make bespoke buildings, terrain, anything you want for your displays, your museum pieces, your war games, whatever you want. And I'm not just saying it because it's my old man. It is top-notch stuff. Go and check him out. There's a link to his Facebook page just downstairs in the description of this video. Go check it out and see the embassy. It's enormous. And it will be featuring in an expo later this year. I think. Yeah. Still going. Still going. Look how far that black oil paint's gone. A black oil paint, not black oil paint, but oil paint will take longer to dry than acrylic. So this won't dry up necessarily in the little tray here. I'm going to chuck a load more in. Come on. Let's get healthy with it. Technical question for Danny, asks Adrian. When using your airbrush, how much thinner and or flow improver do you mix into the paint? I started painting my Tiger 2. Good question. I assume we're using acrylics here. It depends entirely on the brands, the specific colours, etc. But I will put a drop of flow improver or 2 into about 6 to maybe 8 drops of paint. If you're buying, and I don't mean to belittle Vallejo, but if you're buying top quality brands like Ammo MIG or AK Interactive, Vallejo are very good, but I just think that the other two are just a realm above it. If you're buying those, they're often thin enough that you don't have to worry about putting too much in. So maybe you could even go like 8 to 10 drops of paint to 1 drop of flow improver. I tend not to use thinner so much. That was a little tip that I picked up from The Source Painting. That's a YouTube show that you can go. So I think he's an American dude, just paints very well, and he was saying that he tends to just use flow improver as a thinner because it has additional properties in it, and anything that you add to paint is always going to dilute it anyway. But I still do use thinner on the odd occasion. Play with it, experiment with it. You want it to come out silky smooth, but you still want to have control. If it's too watery, it's very likely, especially in the early days, it will just kind of blurt out all over the place, and you'll get runaway, you'll get spiders' legs and things like that, where it just kind of like splats everywhere, and it's easy for it to kind of run around all over the place and not really stay. It'll go on too thin. You want it to be manageable. So just play with it. Vallejo paints are a little bit lower quality, and I'll do about a drop of flow improver or thinner to like 4 or 5 drops of paint perhaps. By thick accent he means not very clever sounding. Not what I mean. I'll let the different locations of the UK fight it out in the live chat there. I think I've got something quite runny now. I'm quite happy with that. You can see it moving around in the dish there. It's not water, it's more like milk, and that is a reference that a lot of people would recognise in the airbrushing community. Yeah, people always say, "Oh, like you want your paint to be like the same consistency of milk." It's a misnomer in many ways. It doesn't need to be like milk. It needs to be appropriate for the way that you paint. But milk is a good analogue to follow. It's a good place to start from. So I've just kind of gone with that sort of runniness. Hopefully, I'll have a nice capillary relief. I'm going to say that with confidence, like I know what I'm talking about, but capillary action is when paint hits the surface and the surface tension is enough that it will draw it out into a recess, basically. So if I was to get a piece of undiluted paint, a drop of undiluted paint, and just go plop like that, it would just stay there. It's so thick it holds itself to itself. It doesn't run anywhere. If I put water in there, water would run everywhere. So I've diluted this paint down with that thinner to a point where it should, if I was to drop it in one of these grooves, it should run and expand out. That's the point. So it means I don't have to go in there with a steady hand and paint every recess, which could be a bit of a nightmare. If it gets on the sides of these little ribs, it should run down into the recess because gravity will take over. So that is the plan. I'm going to start with this chest piece because it's the largest piece and it's got some of the larger torso rib bits on it. Here we go. I've got a 0 brush with a nice narrow tip on it. I can see that the paint is like kind of bundling up on the ends here. Not the biggest drama. If that's an indication of it being too thick, I'll have to water it or thin it down a little bit more. Staff's joined us. Hi, guys. Hello, mate. I hope you're doing well. How are you? So, I'm going to just basically drop my brush in there. It sort of exploded out a little bit. You can see just that little shiny dot in there, can't you? It sort of like expanded out a little bit, but not very far. No, that... I think... That's interesting, isn't it? Paint didn't run away so much like I wanted it to. It's still a little bit clingy. So I'm going to put more thinner in there. If I get paint all up the sides of the model when I'm doing it, which is quite likely, and I already have, oil paints are really wonderful in the fact that you can reanimate them almost immediately, despite how long they've sat there for. So, if it dries, and it will get tougher with time, but if it dries in the space of like 20 minutes or whatever, I can just go in and agitate it with a bit of thinner, and it reanimates it. And, oh, look at that, I just sprayed it all over my hands. I can move it around, basically. So, it's watery enough to flick off the end of my brush. So I need to put that down somewhere. I'm not going to cause a scene. I don't know where to... Stay here, please. Thank you. That's one for the blooper reel. Okay. So, we know it's quite watery. I've added a bit more thinner in there. It might just be me and the fact that I'm not very good at this technique. So, I'm going to be a bit brutal with it. I know I said I wasn't going to slap it on all over, but I'm just going to go in a little bit heavy-handed, not really minding where it goes. Can you see how it's just kind of all over the sides of those ribs there? I can neaten it up like I was just saying, so not a big drama. And you never know, it might actually create a nice effect where I look at it and go, oh, I'm not actually going to remove that, I'm just going to leave it. Now, another thing that I could do to help me out here is apply a thin layer of thinner in there, so that it's something to help, you know, take to wick the colour around. And I can see now that because there's thinner already in there, because it's in the paint, as I'm dabbing in a new layer of this paint, I can see it being drawn out a little bit more. So that might be key to my success. I missed that rib entirely. Can see the paint running away in there now. So what I'm doing here is I'm just moving the brush along a little bit, not worrying about being so accurate, and I can see the paint running all the way through the little grooves. That's quite fun. And this is one of those things where I just need to practice this a lot, and what a better model to be playing around on. I just like painting things, mate. You know, it's just fun. All I'm looking at here, not necessarily neatness, I'm just looking at the contrast. So where the shadow's gone, or the colour's gone into the shadow, the recessed areas, what does that look like when we compare it to an untouched side? There's quite a difference, isn't there? I will come in and I will neaten up all the spilled areas. I'm going to let it let the thinner evaporate. Come in with a clean brush, a little bit of thinner on it, and just mop up all those untidy areas. Super easy task. Twist that torso piece around so that I can get into the upper back piece there. Now you can get like oil shaders, and they basically come in like a little pot, a little bit like this. This is for the airbrush, and it's got like what looks like a mascara brush inside. Really, really fine tip, but quite long, and it's the perfect consistency pre-made. And you just touch it into the areas that you want it to go. And I've seen some wonderful effects with it. Darren's joined us. Hi, Darren. How you doing? Stafford says that he won a game of 40k last night. Congratulations. Well done. Yeah, that's right. That's okay. I'm sure I'll get neater at it. But maybe I won't. Oh, we've got Kez who joined us. I just seen Kez disappear in the live chat there. Hi all, I'd love to be painting tonight, but I'm still in pain from my hernia operation. I hope you get well soon, mate. Yeah, joining the rest there and wishing you well. Have a swift recovery. Just sit there and chill out, mate. Don't work so hard. No need. I just piled a load of paint in there. It didn't need to go in there at all. Just getting a bit of slap happy now. Twist it that way so I can get into the upper front part there. Well, do you know what? I've been really brutal with that, but it's doing the job. It's doing a thing. Some contrast in there. Now I've also got a neck piece on this one, and I've also got these, I don't know, like backpack straps or something. I think I might come back to those and do them individually so that I don't, interfere with this. I'm going to let that settle for a minute, so I'm just going to pop that over there. And I'm going to go to this leg piece. This is the one that when I dropped everything last week, the little skewer handle exploded everywhere. So we've got some pieces up on the hips, and we've got some pieces behind the knee in there. These might be a bit tricky because to get in there I sometimes have to open it up, so yeah, see what happens I suppose. So I bought these Raphael Kalinski brushes on the recommendation from Miniac, another big YouTuber out there. I love them. They're great for acrylic work. They're great for oil painting, to be fair, but if I'm doing oil stain like this, they don't hold a point because I've thinned it down so much that there's no substance to the paint to hold it together. So I've either got to learn how to do this bit better, or maybe there's a more appropriate brush out there for me. I'm not fussed about finding that appropriate brush right now. I'm just having some fun with this. Yeah, there's There's going to be a big cleanup on this. Whatever. It's fun. I'm making colours go on colours. What more could I ask for? Okay, so let's have a look about getting into that space in there. Do you remember when I said last week that to paint it I'll have to move some of the joints around that could scrape some of the paint off? I'm expecting that here. This is where it could start to happen, so I'm going to try and do it as little as I can. I'm going to try and just get some paint in there. Now I'm not trying to create a shaded surface, so I'm not trying to do any kind of like zenithal shading or pre-shading. I'm not trying to like shade the surfaces of the grey or anything. I'm just trying to get a recessed wash, just trying to get it into the creases. So when this is landing on some of the surfaces, I spat, I'm so sorry. When it's landing on some of the surfaces, I do intend to come back in and mop all that up, unless it looks really cool. Accidental success is still success. It hasn't taken any of the paint off of it from doing that, so that's good. Okay, I'm going to pop that there. It hasn't got a skewer to put on the big polystyrene block. Oh, there's a whole conversation going on there. I can't keep up with that, but it looks like the Steve has joined us. Hi, Steve. Haven't seen you for a little while. How are you doing, pal? Are you okay? How's the welding going? Take a swig of the old tea, I think. So, second leg. Let's go to the hip joint first. So, I wonder if you guys can hear it. I've got soundproof or noise cancelling headphones and music blaring in my ears, and I'm talking over the sound of everything with my own voice. I can hear it. I can still hear my cat outside the door, giving it some real lungs out there. Sorry, Dax. You've got thinners out. You can't come in, mate. There'll be another day on the show where I let the cats back in. Been a little while since they've been on the show, right? Oh, I think I painted his leg closed there. Didn't want to open up at all. A little bit of that paint has just escaped into the panel in the leg there, and it looks really, really good. So I'm going to use a really fine brush to do all the paneling on the actual armor itself. I think that might be the right move to do. A little bit of it has bled out onto the surface itself. That's a cleanup operation. That'll be a little bit later. Hopefully we'll get to a point today where I can actually do that on the show today. And I've got to be honest, I am ashing this. I use the zero brush because it does go down to a really fine point, but maybe I've got the mixture too watered down. I think that might be the problem. But it's behaving in a way that I expect it to, so I wonder if I have got the mixture right. I don't know. But yeah, I can't create a fine point on here to dip it in to these little recesses and keep it super neat. So I'm just, like I say, I'm just going in slap happy. Yes, I like that phrase. That leg to it. Another sip of tea. Why not? So here's the space pants. These are space pants, and they've got the rest of the hip piece up there for the top of the legs. They're quite large pieces. They go underneath these crease on the side. I'm just gonna get these little bits done here. I'm hoping I don't have to go too far under there because it's actually quite tough to get in on underneath. I think that these pieces, the belt and the crease, actually come separate from the cod piece, but I can't be bothered with that. The first couple of dabs on that part there went really well. The last two went awful. Ace. Right, I'm actually going to put that in my big polystyrene block. Lovely. So I think I've only got a couple of other pieces that have got these rubbery style looking parts on them. There's nothing like that on the backpack. Oh, there is one on there, look. There is. I put a little hose in here. Hose. Okay. Going easy with that one. There's nothing too major with it. It'll run around all over the place, I expect. I'll go in and neaten it up a little bit later on. Just a recess wash. Recess wash. That's really hard to say. We've got some little pipes on the side of the mask on the helmet, but I think I might do there's like a little metallic colour just to bring a little bit of focus and attention to the face. There's nothing on the shoulder pads at all. Nothing for that whatsoever. But we do have a little bit on the arms. We've got nothing up at the shoulders. We've got a little bit in the elbows. There's not actually an awful lot going on in there. You could, I suppose, extrapolate that behind this elbow piece here, that there would be all the ribbing, but it's not present on the model, so we're not going to worry about that. And obviously, because it's like an action figure style toy, it has like has a posable joint thing in here, so that there's a void where there would be that detail, I suppose. So I'm just gonna put a little bit in the parts that are present. I just make the most of it, really. Outline at least the grey to the green. That's simple. And I'll come in for a little cleanup operation later on. Get a little bit in the middle there. There we are. Lovely. What we do have on here is the hand. The hand is made up of quite a lot of this stuff. So yeah, you can see here, look, that there's the whole palm. It does go, I'd expect that it goes to the inside of the fingers, but at a closer inspection, it's not. They're like armoured bits. And it kind of comes up around the top of the hand here. We've got like a back plate, so a backhand plate, and then the fingers and the thumb are kind of armoured, which is cool. It seems to be that the smaller the grooves, the better this thing works for, and maybe that kind of like helps the surface tension of the liquid. The definition of the detail closer to the fingers disappears a little bit, so it's a little bit harder to keep that style, but it's working. It's getting a bit messier in there, that's all. Okay, to the top of the hand here. I don't know if the camera's really picking it up very well, but it is starting to draw out. Now, a couple of weeks ago I lifted the camera up to create more canvas space down here because the model's that much bigger, but actually I'm working with smaller pieces. I think I can actually go back down again. It might be that when I put the marine back together again, which won't be for a little while yet, but we're not far away from it. It might be a more appropriate thing to do there, perhaps. And of course, the closer you are, the easier it is for you to see things as I see them. Now, I'm not too fussed about what the inside of the hand looks like, because let's be honest, we're not really going to see it. He's probably going to be holding his rifle. But around the outsides of the hands you can see it. And that's looking pretty cool. Okay, that's alright. You can see, this always bothers me, and I'm not, like I say, I'm not very used to working with oils, but if we were looking at his thumb, you can see that there's a big old wet stain at the base of his thumb, but there's no paint in that. That is literally the thinner that has crept up. Capillary action has found all the microscopic surface details of that particular surface, and it's drawing itself up through capillary relief. I call it capillary relief. It sounds cool. That might be not the right word, but the action of capillariness. Yeah, basically it soaks up like a sponge. It draws it up. That's how a sponge works. There's no colour in it, so it will evaporate. It might have a slight hue to it, but later on I can go in with a bit of clean thinner and just mop that up and it will all disappear. So it won't take very long to evaporate, hopefully just up until the break perhaps. So the last piece here is the arm, and I'm going to go back to the torso to do the missing pieces on there. Same again then, in the elbow crease, virtually nothing. Okay, and this palm's going to be a little bit easier to do because this is the one that holds the front of the rifle, so it's actually kind of just sitting on it like that, isn't it? Danny says, sorry, Crumb says, Danny, are you going to put a tattoo on the back of his hand like in the style of the youth? No. Negative. That being said, though, I could do like some fancy patterning on the armour, couldn't I? I think I've over-thinned this paint. Oh, well, do you know what? I didn't know any better. I can tell this because in those wider grooves, the colour is dispersing out quite heavily, which means there's not enough paint in the amount of thinner that I'm putting in there. That's fine. I didn't expect. Just mix some paint up, put it on your model, have some fun. So what I'm doing is I'm loading those recesses with loads of this paint. And hopefully something will stick. Just leave. Wonderful. Okay, do you know what? Here we go, back to the torso. So these bits over here, almost dried completely. You can see there's some wet, stainy bits on the back here where there was no paint, and that is again just the thinner is just escaping. It's creeping up over the model. It's not taking any colour with it, so that's fine. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces to do here. I think I'm going to do the neck piece first. I don't think much is actually going to be seen on this when the helmet goes over it. I think you're only really going to see the ribbed bits there. That capillary action is working really well. Covering over a bit of the light because it's so shiny on the parts where the thinner is. It's reflecting all the light, and I can't see how much colour has gone in there. I could just see bright patches. That looks okay. I can tell there's quite a bit in there because I can see there's quite a bit of black pooling at the base then. So that's fine. With this one here, like, I'm just going to do a bit of a slap on just in there because the little lines in there are so thin. I can just go in and clean it up. The paint I've made is so thin as well that it's going to run everywhere anyway. So I'm just going to go and do that thing that I said I wasn't going to do, which is a bit of a slap on. Okay. kind of a sludge wash. Honestly, at this point, who cares? Cool. So, do you know, that might be like the first of a couple of coats, and that's fine, isn't it? I'm just gonna wash my brush out. I've got a tiny bit of thinner here, just in a little pocket of my palette, and that is just to clean the brush out, because you can't use water to clean oil paints out. You can try, but it's not. You're just gonna make a mess. So I just want to have a little bit of thinner there, just to clean, and then on a tissue. And then I don't know if oil paints are kind of like harsh to your brushes, but I'm gonna use some of the old, brush cleaner preserver, the master stuff. This stuff is really, really good. All you got to do is just get the brush wet with some water, and this soap in here is designed to clean and moisturize your brush, and it's an absolute necessity, frankly. Unless you've got like disposable brushes, like where like maybe you do work like my dad Jeff in the live chat, who are just doing like massive terrain projects and it just destroys your brushes. You don't want to spend 20 quid on a brush for that. But if you're trying to look after your brushes, this stuff is absolutely the bomb, and it lasts forever. I'm just literally applying water to the bristles there, trying to work it into the bristles. Normally I whisk it around, create a bit of a lather. But I think because there's oil-based paints in there, it's not working as it normally would do. And I'm just going to create a bit of a soapy thing here. Just kind of work it in. I'm being gentle. I'm trying to respect the direction of the bristles. And I'm just going to work out any loose paint in there. Then this stuff is designed for acrylic and oil and enamel, so it is good stuff. And if there's any residue of paint in there, it will start to tarnish the colour of the suds that are coming out. It's a really good cleaner. And I just like to add a little bit of water to it now and really kind of work it up into the ferrule, because that's where the paints can sit. Even if you're not getting your paint in up to at the end of the ferrule, capillary action, it is going to draw, especially at the wateriness, the viscosity. The paint that I've been working with today, it's certainly getting up in there. Right now, it's wet paint. It's not going to matter so much. But when it dries, it will form a big old crusty blob, and it will then start to affect the direction of your bristles, and they'll start to splay out from the base, and that's when it all gets ruined. There's Jeff there saying, "Is it rum time yet?" Like it's like a one-track mind, isn't it? I'm just here for the booze. It's always rum time, Jeff. Jeffers love that. yeah, so we are at the point where we will disappear for a quick 10-minute break. A quick 10-minute break, a long 10-minute break, or 10 minutes really. Don't think there's any paint stuck in my brush now, so I'm just going to rinse out any leftover soap, any other particulates that might be in there. My brush is looking pretty clean. And I'm going to give all my brushes a really thorough clean at the end of the show as well, because it's good to do that. I'll get a bit more thinner on the side and just soak it in. So if there's any dry oil paint in there that the soap hasn't removed, it's a good opportunity for it to kind of work it out as well. You can see a little bit of build up at the base of the ferrule, so it is time to give them a good old clean. I always clean my brushes as I go, but you know, I'm going to spend a bit of time doing it. And look after your brushes are an investment. This is what I mean. Just by putting the now clean bristles in my mouth and twizzling it at the same time, I can get this to go down to a really, really fine point. But when there's watery substance, paint, thinner, whatever in there, it just pulls all the things apart. It just turns into a big blobby mess. So this is good for doing like detail work. Absolutely it is. But I think I've just thinned my stuff down so much, so yeah. Whatever. Anyway, there we go. Cool. Put the paintbrush soap away. I always give it as brush vigorous clean. Not going down that road with you, man. Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is a case of too much rum already. Dare I bring us to that point of the show? Clearly it's looking a little bit rambunctious in the live chat today. Not as rambunctious as it has been in previous weeks. But hey ho, at least everyone's having some fun. I'm going to disappear for 10 minutes because 2 hours of sitting here and you listening to my voice is going to get too much. So we're going to have a 10-minute break and then we're going to come back for the final hour. Use this time to go and change your paint water, go get yourself a fresh brew or whatever. I'm going to go and get a grown-up juice because I think that's what everybody else wants to do today. So I'll see you in 10. Bye-bye. Welcome back. Hope you had a good break. I went and got myself a grown-up juice. It looks like Coca-Cola, but I can assure you it's got something a little bit more stronger in that. I've actually got a little bit of cherry and almond vodka in there, made from a local distillery called Two Birds. I saw it at a little town fair back in early January, I think, and it was along the quayside where I live. And there's a gentleman selling little bottles of it. It was very expensive, but it was very tasty. And I opened it the other day, and it is like drinking a vodka and cola cherry bakewell. If you're into all of that, it's very tasty. Anyway, first one of the day. Cheers and happy weekend. Drink responsibly. That is a very tasty drink. It's going to go down too easily. In for a penny, in for a pound. That is very, very tasty. Hope you guys are all having a wicked Friday so far. I'm having a wonderful time. I've just stuck the hairdryer on these little bits here just to kind of help speed up the drying process of the thinner. It takes a little bit longer than, quite a bit longer than an acrylic paint to dry. So it's going to be a little while before I can do anything with what I've just done. However, what I am going to do is I'm going to just try and improve the consistency of the paint that I've been making this evening. I've been rolling it around in the tray, and I can see the paint separating from the thinner, which tells me there's probably a bit too much thinner in there. The way that the paint's been behaving on the model itself tells me that it certainly is too thin. As I'm rolling it around the inside of this tin, it's not clinging to the sides. I'd expect it, as I roll it around, to cling a little bit, or even kind of like pour back down again after sitting there for like a minute maybe. But it's not. It's just rolling around like it's just black water. It's over thinned. Practice will make perfect, I suppose. I can see without even looking that Stafford is chiding me for calling it a hairdryer. It is a Dryer-matic. Okay, I'm really sorry. Yeah, he is. He's having a go. It's not a hairdryer. We call it the Easy 8 Dryer-matic. Yeah, okay, sorry. Thanks for buying me the Dryer-matic, mate. This is very, very much appreciated. Yeah, I need to add more paint to this mixture. That's the solution here. Anyway, if you're just joining us for the first time, or perhaps you haven't done so already, please do consider subscribing to the show. I want the community to grow. I want Easy 8 to become a big thing. It is a big thing. It's a big deal. It's my big deal. I love it. But I want it to become really, really popular on the internet. Of course I do, but for all the right reasons. It's growing naturally. It's growing organic. I absolutely love you all. So thank you so much for subscribing so far. But go tell a friend. Maybe share a little poster at work or something. I don't mind. Whatever. And get someone to come on over. Maybe you know someone at work who might benefit from a show like this, where it's just a place where you can come, a safe place for you to build or paint your models, do whatever, or just talk stuff in the live chat over there with these crazy guys. So yeah, thumbs up the video if you haven't done so already, and give me a subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Excuse me, cherries come out of the devil's arse, apparently. Thanks, Dad. I don't think there's a single cherry in there, but if it comes out of the devil's arse, then I'm not even going to say it, but you know where I'm going with it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not playing your game. That's a tasty ass. Cherry, drink. Okay. But is it Hello Kitty like other YouTubers? Is it Hello? I don't know what you're talking about. Not down with that lingo, I'm afraid. I'm so sorry. Alright, well, do you know what? I'm just going to take you straight back over to the workbench before I further embarrass myself in front of the whole world. Here we go. So, back to the paint tube here. I've still got my brush that I mixed it with originally. Still saturated in paint and thinner there, so that'll be fine to mix it with. I'm just going to basically just take a little splooge out the end of the tube. Splooge is the right word. Science word. It's very technical, you might not know. And how could you? Gonna take a little bit out at the end here, and basically I'm just going to mix that in. That's probably about a third or maybe a quarter of what I put in originally. That'll go a long distance, I reckon. You say that, of course, but I got it all wrong earlier, didn't I? So shut your pie hole, hey? Right, I'm just going to move the bits of the model out of the way because I might end up splashing like I did earlier on. Okay, there we go, and I'm just going to mix that in. And I'm just trying to thicken up the paint. I enjoy working with oil paints. I've not really done an awful lot with them. I've only got the 2 colours really. I've got some enamel paints, and they don't behave the same way because they're technical paints. They're like weathering paints. They're colours and textures to make things look like rust or dirt or grime or oil and things like that. They're designed, they're composed to look like the substances that you're painting rather than just have the colour of them. And the fact that they're enamel based means that they work with thinners, and you can do streaks with them and things, and that's very cool. So I've got a little bit of experience with those, but not really oil paints per se. And I do feel like a big grown up playing with the thinners, because it feels like an advanced technique to me. I haven't really done much with it, and I think that, well, as I'm demonstrating here, while it's a very simple concept, it's not so easy to do in practice. It's not that hard, and I am getting some nice results, but I watch some pros out there who just kind of dab the point of their brush in and it just does everything you want it to do, and like, that's so cool. I wish I could do that like that, and I can't. So, big up all the artists out there who can, right? I might start on a leg piece here because there's some nice details, I think, on here. In fact, on the front here we've got this little piece in front of the knee. I don't know what it is. It's just a funky looking detail. It looks fun. It's there. It brings a little bit of interest to an otherwise fairly featureless panel. We've also got a little groove that runs all the way around the outside of the knee cup. We've got a little thingy sprocket on the side here. Whatever. I've also got these little damage details. I've got a couple like scratches and rents in the armour. There's a couple of little dots or whatever. There's a big bullet hole or something here. I could put something in there, I suppose. I might do. I will do, probably. And then look at over here. Like, we've got all these lines and details and panels and jujumi flips, whatever, rivets. So yeah, I'm going to pop some stuff in there. I wish my girlfriend was this dirty. With a question mark? Branding or vandalism? I've seen a Hello Kitty warehouse storage units. Yeah, well there. No, I don't. I don't mind Hello Kitty. Like, if you like it, you like it. But it's for kids, and it's got no place in my life. Burnt umber is a very useful coloured oil. Yeah, I've got black and burnt umber. Those are the 2 colours I've got. And I just picked them up because they were cheap at the time, and they're a medium rare umber. Yeah, man, there's a well done umber as well. Well done umber. Oh, it's all getting funny now, isn't it? It's getting a bit silly. Right, the paint is looking thicker. That's lovely. I'm going to be honest with you, it's looking a little bit too thick. But I can deal with that. I'm going to load up my brush. There we go. And I'm going to try and get a bit of a point to my brush this time. If I'm not very good at it this time, what I'll do is I'll go down to my little 000 brush, which is a really fine point. But it won't hold an awful lot in terms of its volume. It's plus size. You guys. What I think I will do this time is I'll get another brush. I'll get this one. I'll get my little army painter brush. Come here. Thank you. And I'm going to get a bit thinner, and I'm just going to pop that in the pan on the side here. And I'm going to use that for pre-coating an area to help with the capillary action. So, and once I'm done with it, of course, I can use it to clean my brush. Okay. Lovely. So I don't really know like the best way of doing this. I've just saturated the bristles of this brush in thinner. You can see it coming off of my fingertip there. But obviously now like the whole brush is saturated, so I'm just going to dab it off gently onto the tissue to absorb the majority of it off. I don't want to overload the area. What I'm going to do here, look, is I'm now just going to wipe this through this detail here. And even the slightest a bit thinner is going to create an environment where it will want to draw the paint that I put in there around. I'm hoping it's basically going to... I'm going to dot it and the paint is going to just flow through. That's what I'm hoping for. Let's find out and see what happens. It didn't, because I've made the paint too thick now. Yeah. Good stuff, me. So, I come in with a bit more thinner with this brush here. I've just got to practice to find the perfect consistency of this stain. I'll put a couple of drops back in. Let's try now. It is working. I'm a little clumsy, so that's fine. I think it would be better with my really, really thin brush. So, really, really thin brush. This is a 000. Moisten the bristles with a bit of water, just supple it up there. There we go. Dip it in the thinner, just like I did a minute ago, and dab that up with the tissue. And then in that black paint. That works. Okay, that's satisfying. I'm still a bit of a klutz with it. That's really satisfying, that is. Okay, cool. Saturated brush. That's fun. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to saturate a bit more. Saturate a bit more this other brush. And see how that affects it. Proper handsome. Love that. I don't know how I feel about outlining this whole panel. What do you think? Should I outline the panel, or am I just looking at recesses? What do you think I should do? I don't know. I'm stuck. I don't know how to choose. While you're deciding for me, I'm just going to do this little nugget here. Do these little things up here, these little vents, whatever they are. Strip off the green and replace it with a nice blood red. And full disclosure, I may be a wee bit drunk. Outline the damn panel. Okay. Need to catch up with Steve, I think. Darren's got to go. Nice to see you again, mate. Take care of yourself. Be well. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. Right, I'm going to outline the panel because I think I'm getting told off by the dad. Here we go then. Oh, that's good. What I love about these army painted brushes is that they're made in cross section as a triangle. So when you put them down on a table that always rolls stuff, mine, it doesn't roll. I just really like that. Such a simple little thing. Yeah, I'm a bit clumsy with this panel line, especially on the outsides of this particular panel. But I can always neaten it up. There. Okay, cool. Vents on the upper thigh to assist gas flow, obviously. Obviously! Maybe it's a weight-saving feature. Every time you do that on a suit of armour, it cuts out a couple of kilos, maybe. I think I've oversaturated the area around this panel. Starting to have a bit of a runaway effect, so I'm just trying to build up as much of the black in there as possible so I can come back in later on and make it neater by like the cleanup process. But it stands out now. It's been defined with that little black line. Bit messy though, bit messy. Room for a Swiss Army knife, yeah, maybe. I think I'll leave that little bit in there. There's a tendency to want to overdo things, isn't there? There's like a little, I don't know what that is. It's a thing I'm just going to leave. Oh, who cares? Oh, do you know what? Now I've said it. ADHD for the win. Cat hair. Jump. Now, I'm not going to do anything with the scratch on the knee there, because there's actually going to be some detail feature that goes on there, like squad markings and things. There's actually going to be some checker patterns and things on there. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do it yet, but there will be something to go on it. As a part of that process, when I put the detail on it, then I'll probably do some weathering effects on there to make it look like it's gone through those colours at the time. And I was talking to a couple of people, Shiv included, at the end of last week about, well, actually during the week, I think, about different patterns and techniques and styles and things. And Shiv mentioned that like painting checks is a really difficult thing to do. And I actually really enjoy painting checks, because I had to do them on my Gazgull model, which is the really big orc, for those of you that don't know what Gazgull is. Am I just saying stupid sounds? And I had to paint freehand. I wanted to paint freehand checks. I wanted that challenge. And they were quite simple to do. They are tricky, of course. It's freehand. There is a certain element of trickiness to it. But it was easier than I thought it was going to be, and it was a lot of fun. And it was really easy to get really good results. God, that was really messy. And I had a really good time doing it. And of course, every time you attempt something, it just makes you that little bit better every single time. One of the things that I'm going to do on this model is I'm going to be doing checks on there, but I'm going to do it live on the show with the Gazgull. I think I actually ended up doing a lot of the checks off air. And I would like to do it with you guys. So if you guys have never painted freehand checks, or you have done and you want to just kind of paint along with me anyway, that's also fine. But I'm not a painting tutorial. I don't think I'm good enough to be a painting tutorial, but there's a few things that I've kind of learned along the way, and I'm more than willing to kind of show how I've kind of done it. I wouldn't say conquered it. I'm not good enough to have conquered anything. But yeah, if you want to kind of come along as a part of that, I will, try to be in a position where I can schedule when I'm going to get to that part of the painting. So let's say, like, I was going to do it next week. I say, hey, next week I'm going to do the checks, and you guys could bring whatever model you wanted to paint some checks on, or just a piece of flat plastic and practice on it if you wanted to. It would be quite cool if I was at the level to be able to do tutorial style skits every now and then. I don't think I am. I get a lot of very lovely comments saying that I am. So rather than me saying, hey, I think I'm good enough to do a tutorial show, there's lots of that stuff out there. You should go and find them. When I think that I've got something that I'm happy with, that maybe you guys aren't so solid on, and only you'll be able to decide that, of course, just let me know what that is, and we can try and, put it in a show where I just show you what I've done and you can paint along with. One of the things that I really want to learn live on stream is how to paint skin tones. I am absolutely terrible at painting skin tones because I've always been one of those people that just, puts a flesh colour down, puts a Reichland flesh shade over the top, does a little highlight, and while that works, when you're painting like a horde of models, like a rank and file troops or whatever, that's absolutely fine. Like, I want to get better at it, and I actually want to buy like a proper large model, not as large as this thing is, but like the 54mm models, and actually do like a really nice job on it. I've been looking at some nice miniatures that you can buy on eBay or on Amazon or whatever, that they're not for any particular thing other than just having fun with. I think it'll be a really nice thing to do as a community, is to get together and actually do projects together, learn by making mistakes live on air, and kind of we'll paint along the same sort of thing together. Now, you could end up painting the same miniature. We could all kind of, share a link at a model that we found and we'll all paint it together, or you can just, do the same concepts and themes. Like, we're going to paint flesh tones, but use your own paints and use your own models or whatever. Models and paints and stuff, it costs money. I'm not going to assume that you guys need to go and buy stuff just to join along with. But if you're interested in kind of learning, developing, and just, pushing your comfort zone a little bit, the stretch zone. Kidneys have room. Okay, Steve is drunk. Good for you, pal. Drink responsibly. I know he's going to come back at me with this. Feel free, Steve. Go for it. Fill your boots. Or your kidneys. Keep it clean for the kids, yeah. And that's another thing as well. If you've got kids and they're into painting, this is a nice little show. I know it kind of goes on late for a lot of kids. We go up to 9. on a Friday, maybe it's a special thing. Your kids can stay up late if they're going to come along and paint. If they're into painting and they're not really good, or they haven't really started or learned, haven't really developed or learned yet, and there are kids out there who are hella good, like the young bloods entry in Golden Demon. Man, they are just as competitive as all the other like adult pros out there. There's some fantastic people. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you've got kids and they just haven't really explored the world of painting before, then what I can do, of course, is the very basic steps. So if you say, like, actually, I would really like to bring my kids along, I'd like them to learn on the show, join in the community. I know sometimes we get a little bit, silly in the live chat and we have a couple of drinks or whatever, but that's because we know each other and, we're comfortable with each other. But if we're bringing, our kids into it, it is a safe space. You should feel comfortable to bring your family along or whatever. Yeah, we can certainly do something like that. I think it'll be really good fun. What a nice way to enhance the community as well. Because this is something that a lot of people enjoy doing. I'm going to put an outline around the top of his sabatons. There is a little groove that runs along there. But it only really shows on the side of his shoe. Do you see, because this plate here, look, covers over the panel that's in there, but you can just see, just here, there is a little groove that sticks out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bit of paint in there, and it might run in underneath. That's fine. But sabatons have a line that goes all the way around. So I'm going to outline that. Oh, there's one underneath there. That one. Don't know where to hold it, because this is the one with the broken stick. Fun. Victory drink there. I think that's one leg done there. Oh, yum, that is a tasty drink. So where am I going to start on this one? Start at the top. I know that I probably oversaturated the outline of this panel. That was the mistake I made earlier on. Having too much saturation there. Not the best. But it's fine. I'll clean it up. The problem is I'm painting, a perpetually dark paint on top of a very dark paint. So it is really difficult to see where this is going. If I was painting like brilliant white ink onto it, it'd be much easier to see where it's going, and I would be, probably be able to be a little bit more accurate. I'll come up in the daylight tomorrow and I'll be like, oh my god, that looks so terrible. Although I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not getting an awful lot of time to come into the studio at the moment. The new job, whilst is excellent, is consuming all of my focus and energy at the moment. It's going really, really well. I've been spending the day today with all my new apprentices. They're brand new to the industry. Don't really know what to expect. And today they did their first little bit of peer-to-peer delivery. So they were running sessions of outdoor pursuit activities with each other. And it's the hardest thing is to stand up and deliver, which is essentially performance in front of your peers. It's really, really hard. And there was a lot of nerves. There's a lot of anxiety. One of them is a former policeman. He said that there was more anxiety than that than there was in his previous job, and that's just insane. And I'm so proud of every single one of them. But I'm just so tired from the job because my old job was a very similar role in the same industry, very, very similar. But I've been in that business, I've been in that centre for 17 years, and it was really, I knew what to do like the back of my hand. It was just easy. It came to me. And this is while it is a similar job, there's so much new stuff to it, and I've just got to keep on pushing, you know. Got to keep on learning, keep on developing, keep on growing. There's so much stuff to absorb, so much new stuff, and it's scary, but it's a fun scary. Like, I'm really enjoying myself. So yeah, I'm not really getting the time to come into the studio. I'm using all my downtime to just sit with my partner Katie, sit with my cats, watch some telly, do a bit of reading maybe. But of course it all will settle down eventually. Got our first residential guests coming in on the 13th of March. It's going to be a really big event. They're only in for 2 days, but there's like 300 plus people coming in, and it's going to be hella busy. It's going to be absolutely chocker and very, very confusing. And after that, it all dies off a little bit more, so we get a little bit of breathing space. And after that, I suppose I'll be able to start relaxing a little bit. I've been running like a role-play game with some of my friends up until I started the new job, a little Warhammer fantasy role-play game, very much like D&D but set in the and there's still a scenario that we've yet to play through that, but I've just not been able to dedicate or devote any time to it, just because I'm just so tired. Now I've got all the energy to go and do my job, 10 times the energy of all of my team put together, but I do get tired and I do need an afternoon nap as well. And it's certainly something that I've discovered with age. I can go the distance, but I don't have the endurance. And it requires so much energy. But I'm so proud of all my new people. They're working really hard. And they want to be really good, and they are just absolutely awesome. What a wonderful job it is. Very privileged job. I'm getting this everywhere. Still looking good though. There's a lot of definition that's coming from that black line. I am enjoying it. It is good. it's such a sweet drink. It's insanely sweet. Oh, I've just seen that Staff has finished a project. I've just finished a civvy truck. Excellent, mate. Well done for you. That's what this whole show's about, right? It's about starting projects and finishing them before you buy others, I assume. What would I know? But congratulations. Please take a photo, stick it up on Facebook or on Discord so everybody can see it. I'm assuming it is a 15mm model because Stafford has been really getting into Flames of War lately. And he bought the North Africa version as well. Basically brought it over to my house, and me and my friends were me and our friends were looking at the rule book, and we were like, right, what can we make? We were looking at the Normandy one as well, the D-Day one. And I managed to make a British force with lots of fireflies and stuff in it. And it's got lots of Shermans. It's got I think it's got a. There's about 3 units of Shermans, and in 2 or 3 of them it's got 1 Firefly attached to them. The rest are all 75s. And then there's one little unit that's all Fireflies. I think it's like 3 or 4 Fireflies in that one. And then there's a little unit of Stuart tanks, which I really like, little M5 Stuart tanks. And I thought that would be a really nice little British force. So I've got most of the tanks. There's a few M4 Shermans, the 75mm. To build for it, and then I've got to find some troops to go along with it, and I don't know what troops to get yet, but you know, I still got to like paint up all of my Fireflies and my Shermans. Very exciting. Flames of War is a game that together we've only played properly once. Grant from Overlord Games came all the way down from where he lives, actually visited my house on an evening where I just have some friends over to play some games. Came all the way down with all the energy that he could muster. Talked us through literally move by move how to play Flames of War, and then got in his car and drove back home again a couple of hours to get there. So thanks ever so much for that, Grant. I know I thanked you at the time, but thank you now. And it really, while we still got a lot to learn about the game, it was just a taster, of course. It gave us a real desire to want to go and play the game. Staff has been really kind of instrumental in that, like really wanting to push us all to play it. Of course, we've just got lots of models on the go, haven't we? And I've just started a new job, so it's not that easy. But yeah, we're really into the idea of it. And another game that I've been wanting to play is Achtung Panzer. And I bought that rule set. I can't remember where I bought it now. I got it from Grant. I got it from Grant at Overlord Models. That was correct. When it was released. Now it's a 28mm game, and I don't have any 20mm Second World War terrain or models or anything really to play that, because it's just extra stuff, isn't it, that you got to find storage for, and I don't have all the space in the world. However, we've been thinking that we will learn to play it in 15mm because we've got all the stuff for that, and then if we really like the game, which I bet we will, we could buy a few bits and pieces to play specifically small games of Achtung Panzer. It's a really interesting game. When I first showed interest in it, I thought it was more like a role-play game meets a war game. It's not so much that. That's probably a poor description of it. It basically is a detailed tank and crew game, and you have a few tanks maybe in a platoon with a roster, so you might be able to play with some tanks one game and then move on to others if you wanted to, moving them through a campaign of events. And you actually have certain individuals in this, so you'll have your driver, your gunner, your commander, etc. There'll be certain features about your tank. You might have certain ammo types and things like that. And it's quite detail orientated. It's not over the top, although the rulebook looks a little bit detail heavy. But actually, the game seems to play like a detailed version of What a Tanker, which is a great game that me and the guys play together. If you haven't played What a Tanker, it's absolutely a wonderful beer and pretzels game. Please go and play it. But you have to acquire your targets and then aim at them, and before you can even shoot them, of course, you need to load the right ammo in there and all those sorts of things. So yeah, we'll play that in 15mm. Of course, it will play differently. because the measurements for like movement and distances and things like that in Achtung Panzer are all made with a 28mm game in mind. So I reckon if we play with all the same measurements but just do 15mm scale, the game will probably just play faster, which is fine, right? Because you'll be moving around the board faster. But if we know that, that's okay. I've got no issues with that at all. And then if we really like it, then we can go and get some really nice models, paint them up and do some scenery. Now what I like about a 28mm game, especially after playing so many 15mm war games, is the detail, and the models are just beautiful. I have painted a few 28mm World War II tanks. And it was where my interest in tanks came from, because I had to learn stuff about all the different components and parts of the tanks to understand what it was that I was painting. What colour do I paint this random block on the side? Oh, it's a piece of wood, but they were painted black. You know, that's where it all started from. You can have some real fun painting those 28mm tanks. 28mm is a perfect scale for a war game. I think Warhammer, or Warhammer 40,000, when it moved into the 32mm realm, I think it went a little bit beyond itself, personally. It's a personal view, that, obviously. I still love 40k. It didn't get too big for its britches or anything like that. I just think that the scale's a little bit over the top. So when you start getting tanks for Space Marines, they're just so large and so dominating. It doesn't need to be that big. But of course, it's easy to get more details and cooler looking things into that scale. So you know, put that in there, obviously. I get it. I just like a good 28mm war game. There is some very interesting conversations going on in there. I'm going to stay out of that. I'm not going to touch that with a yardstick. Last little bit of detail, of course, is what I did at the end of the last one there, isn't it? Which is around the bottom of the shoe, the sabaton. Look how far this paint has gone as well. I'm still going on that same bit. I know I added a little tiny bit early on. And it's probably, the vast majority of it is now thinner perhaps. But I've still got a decent layer of pigment. It's still giving loads. That was such a tiny amount, and that whole tube cost me like 99p. Now the shop was closing down roughly around that time, but it wasn't a sale price. That was just how much it cost. So there's some real pros to oil painting. I've just never been brave enough to take the leap up until recently. Excellent. Well, that's the legs done. I might quickly move on to the torso here. Have a look at all the details that I can be doing on this. We get the little cleaning brush because there's a few specks of just stuff that's settled on it. Don't know what that little speck of white dot there is. Paint over it. So still some damp bits from earlier on where I was painting the black. What do I want to do on here? So we've got this little recess that runs around the inside of the collar there. That can go. So, oh, please. Hopefully you see from this how handy it is to have a little layer of thinner down on the surface before doing it. Now I knew that that was a style, I knew that was a technique rather, before earlier on. Just questioned the validity of it, but I can see from doing this that it's definitely been very helpful. Looking good, but I think you could do with more cowbell. Alright mate, I'll see what I can find for you. Just as a heads up, Christopher Walken actually hates that Saturday Night Live skit. Because it's followed him everywhere. And I'm going to put one in the little recess down there as well, I think. Just around the base of the neck there. That's quite a wide recess in there, so I probably will not fill the whole layer of that, the whole trench of that line with black. It'll probably just push to the outside edges of it, and that's fine. Obviously some paneling here on the front here that I could pull out and define. There's some little nugget bits here on the front, some little vents for more Swiss Army knives or whatever it was you said probably will go in there. There's actually very little to do in terms of the detail on this. There is this big emblem on the front that will just be painted in different colours entirely. I think I might paint it white with a mixture of some silvers in there. I'm not sure how it's going to go yet. Maybe these feathers here will be white, the sword will generally be silver, and there's this kind of design that goes around the top here that looks like it's got rivets in it. I might paint that gold perhaps, but I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with it yet. I'm going to have a look for some inspiration on that perhaps, but that's a long way off yet. Still got to do all of this detailing, but yeah, having a cracking time with it. Lots done, still lots to do, and it's been really good fun. We're going to come away from here now. Oh, my back's hurting a little bit, leaning forwards a bit too much, but I'm getting really hyper involved, and the effects are really quite striking, and they're quite easy, quite effective. And I know it's very messy at the moment, but it won't take an awful lot of effort to clean it up. It literally is coming in with a clean brush with some thinner in there, and literally just agitate the surface of the in this case the black, and it just kind of comes away, and you just dab that off onto a tissue, and then just rinse, repeat, just keep on going until it's all cleaned up. When that's all done, I might lock it all in place with a quick layer of varnish as well. That'll just help create a little bit of resilience, especially across the green colour as I start handling it, especially as I start reassembling the model. There is probably going to be the potential for a lot of paint removal And because I've done such a nice job with the rendering, if I do say so myself, because I've done that rendering, it might be very difficult to recover and repair. So yeah, I'm quite keen to make sure that it is varnished. And don't you know what? The varnishing isn't really a job that I want to do on the show because it's really dull and boring to watch. So it's just watching me put varnish on something. There's no colour involved. So I'll try, when I get to that point, I'll try and do that off air if time works out for me that way. Anyway, I'm just going to have a little quick catch up with the live chat, which has been extremely chatty today. Thanks for coming along, by the way, guys. I really appreciate that. Be careful using oil paint. Say it too loudly and you'll get liberated. Don't get it. No. I think it's a US reference. I'm not entirely sure. Nope, not going down that road. If varnish is dull, try using a gloss varnish instead. Yes, that has occurred to me, especially with all the panel lining that I'm doing now. I could have done a layer of varnish over the top of top of the green colours, put a layer of gloss varnish down, which helps that capillary action take place because the paint runs over a smoother surface better. I just didn't, for the same reason that I was just saying a minute ago, like me sitting here varnishing on air over such a large miniature. Well, it's just been me doing that for half the show. Yawn territory. It is quite resilient at the moment while I was handling it because the paint's had a chance to dry. There's quite a few layers on there as well. So I knew that with all these little skewer handles as well, it was going to be easy to handle. But yeah, I might do a gloss varnish. I'm not sure yet. Use gloss so it's not dull. But it's not dull. What are you guys talking about? Anyway, you're welcome. Thanks for the stream, you guys. This is what they're saying. Thank you very much. Glad someone got it. But, yeah, so use gloss so it's not dull. Nope. I don't get it. You can't say that, Dad. that's not allowed. Anyway, look, it's been an absolutely crazy evening with you guys talking complete rubbish in the live chat. I've not even been able to keep up at all. If you like what I do here at Easy 8, please do consider subscribing to the show. It's live, it's raw, it's rough, it's ready. It's the whole point. It's just bringing people together, united over the passion for the hobby that we all enjoy, painting our stuff together because sometimes it's so hard to find the time to put some colour on your grey, and that's what the show's all about. So please, if you haven't done so already, hit the thumbs up button, get subscribing, find some people else to bring them along and get them subscribing to make the community grow. It's up to you and me. It's up to us. Subscribe. Yeah. I'm going to be online for a little bit longer because I've got a day off tomorrow. It's lovely, but my partner's been working until just about 20 minutes ago. I heard her get in and talking to the cats and drawing the curtains downstairs. So I'm going to go and say hello to her. Excuse me, because I haven't seen her all day. And then I'm going to come back. So I'm going to be about 10-15 minutes and then I'm going to join you guys over in Discord because I know there's going to be a few people over there. Don't forget that we're not just here on YouTube, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Discord as well. There's a whole host of links to all of our platforms just downstairs in the description. Go and check them out. You can do that now if you want to. The show is over. There's also a load of links to loads of businesses and service providers and painters and just cool places that I've met people along the way, just seen cool stuff along the way. So please go and check them out because this community is all about sharing the passion and the love, and there's a lot of people out there that deserve a lot of your attention. So go and check those guys out when you've got some time as well. In the meantime, it's been a lovely evening. Thank you so much for your company. It's been really lively over there. I'm going to have another drink to see you in the weekend, but drink responsibly, kids. And I will see you guys next week. And until then, stay safe, be kind, keep on painting, get some colour on your grey. See you soon. Bye-bye. Oh, I ran out of breath. I was talking so much. Crazy.